Hello everyone! I am Alice of KHR Arts and Cloud Orchid Publishing, and today I want to talk to y'all about why we transitioned from Cloud Orchid Magazine to Cloud Orchid Publishing. This is a topic that I have had many people ask me about. I'm going to go ahead and give y'all that explanation. Once upon a time, all the way back in 2008, I started working as a professional model. We're talking walking the runway, doing fashion photo shoots, the whole 9 yards, all of that. I did that while full-time in college, doing all of my courses, working toward getting my degree in writing with the goal of ultimately becoming an author. But I also wanted to take advantage of the window of time of being a model, because pretty much once you turn about 24, 25, there's a big drop off for work that's available, and I wanted to take advantage of that. With that, through the years of working as a model, I became very good friends with a photographer named Bryan Thompson. We worked together very closely and became really good friends, and now today we are the best of friends. But back then, we also had the relationship as model and photographer, and we did a ton of work together. This evolved into the time period of about 2011, 2012, where we were focusing our work on editorial work, meaning that we were doing photo shoots specifically to submit to fashion magazines and get our work published that way. So I was the model and he was the photographer, and sometimes we would incorporate designers and stylists and things like that. Sometimes it would be I did all of the styling and all of the wardrobe. It was always a combination of things going on, and we were published in many different fashion magazines. And after a while of doing that, we realized this isn't very hard, and especially because Bryan has prior experience with doing book layout and publishing materials, and I'm a writer. That's what I went to school for. We're like, we could just do this ourselves. So then in January of 2013, we published the first issue of Cloud Orchid Magazine, which was an alternative fashion magazine where we had our focus mainly on different designers and artists in the Midwest area, but we also included things from the States and even other countries as we got later into the issues. But the biggest thing was that we were being invited to fashion shows and big events, and other people in the industry were submitting to have their editorials published in our magazine. We created 17 issues of the fashion show portion of the magazine, and then we published, I think it was about 9 or 10 issues, something like that, of the main fashion magazine. And it was a combination of editorials and art, as well as I also did all of the interviews. So I would either send out interviews via email to these designers and artists and photographers, etc., and then they would answer the questions, and then I would actually take them and write them into an actual editorial piece, whereas a lot of the fashion magazines that we had previously submitted to just did the whole question answer. I would actually break it down and turn it into a fully fledged, fully realized article. I even did that sometimes with having to do in-person interviews where I had to record them and then transcribe them and then finagle them into an article. There was a ton of work that went into creating all these magazines. And in 2014, Bryan went overseas to work as an air traffic controller in a military base in Afghanistan. This was a very difficult point in time for us because we were separated by such enormous distance and time zone and accessibility. And it was honestly also very scary. And we were kind of in this time of transition of we didn't really know what we wanted to do. I was also going through my divorce, so it was just a lot of upheaval, a lot going on. Once things got more established and Bryan was transferred from the military base to a commercial airline in Dubai, and he was able to live much more safely and comfortably, we were able to reevaluate our goals with the magazine, and that's around the time when we decided to transition from being Cloud Orchid Magazine to Cloud Orchid Publishing. Now, it is a legit publishing company in that a legit publishing company is a publishing house that publishes books, and that's what we do. However, we are not what I would consider a large publishing house in that we don't really take on submissions from outside people. We do have a couple of books that are written by authors that are not me. However, we take on those projects very few and far between, and that's because it's literally just the two of us. And there's only so much that we can handle in terms of projects versus our other creative endeavors and our personal lives. So that's a big part of the reason why we're not what I would call a large established publishing house, because we just don't have the manpower to be able to do that. Our main focus is being able to publish my novels and my poetry and to be able to create the art books that we enjoy creating together. That is the larger goal of Cloud Orchid Publishing. However, if we did choose to expand and have more manpower, we could turn it into an established publishing house and take on other submissions and publish other authors. That's just not our goal at this time. A big part of the reason why we decided to do this transition is because, first and foremost, being published by a traditional publisher is hard. As many of y'all who are here watching my videos know, getting published is hard. And it doesn't matter how good your writing is, it's really difficult breaking into that industry. And that's why a lot of authors these days are choosing the self-publishing route. Now, the difference between this being purely self-publishing and this being a publishing house is that a lot of times with self-publishing, authors will do everything themselves. They won't have outside help. They have to do everything by themselves. And they oftentimes have to utilize other services in order to help them, especially if they aren't as well versed in such parts of the process, especially such as book layout, utilizing things like InDesign in order to actually make the book into a book and not just a Word document or a PDF. A lot goes into doing stuff like that. So the fact that Bryan and I are a team and that we can do everything on a professional level, and also the fact that we publish everything with IBN numbers. And what that means is we actually have all of our books have the barcode on the back, and they are all standardized where they can be accepted into local public libraries. There's also a big difference between having a publishing house and just publishing as an indie author. Many indie authors will just publish their works as essentially Kindle PDFs and have them be exclusively ebooks. And there's nothing wrong with that, and they are completely professional and legitimate. However, that's kind of where the difference is between having a publishing house and purely being a self-published author, is that we're going those extra steps to be able to create physical books in addition to ebooks, as well as that we have IBN codes, that we have everything professionally laid out, just all of those extra steps that a traditional publishing house does. We just do it on a much smaller scale because there's only two of us. And I'm so grateful for all of the help that Bryan provides to make all of this possible, because we have published 30 books, y'all. We have published 30 books since 2014. That is bonkers. Just the two of us. 30 books. That's a lot. And we have many more to come. I'm still currently working on a lot of books, and Bryan is just waiting for when we need to hurry up and go once I hand over the books, and we then need to turn them into actual physical books. So it is a journey and it is a process. And it's always so much fun for me to share this timeline with people, because when I start off with telling, once upon a time I was a model, so many people look at me and they're like, what does this have to do with books? Where is this story going? And it's just wild to me how my life has evolved and how our publishing house has evolved and just our roots, and it is just such a fun story to tell. So I hope you enjoyed it as much as I've enjoyed living it. I want to thank y'all so much for watching this video. If you liked it, please be sure to give it a like, and if you're new, subscribe. All right, y'all, thank you so much for watching. Take care. Bye-bye.